Hello and welcome to the First Issue Club podcast. We are your weekly comic book reading club where, just like Sue Storm, we love a good read.
That's a good one, Mike.
Puns, baby.
Good bit.
Can't wait for more of those later on in the episode.
Oh, so there's going to be more puns in the episode.
Well, I would assume so.
Oh, goddamn. I did
Right?
not come pun prepared.
All right, one demerit
Pun
point
paired. Oh, fuck.
for Greg.
It's our quarterly annual review.
Greg.
Oh, you're actually writing that down. Ugh. All right. Well, I'm Greg, and I am now down one demerit.
I'm Vargas, and Mike, you're looking pretty handsome today.
Oh, no.
Hi, I'm Mike D, and I'm feeling pretty good about myself. I took a shower today.
That's a big step. Big step.
Hey, maybe we don't brag about the showers we have in our houses.
Yes. Mr. Two Showers that work.
I've got 2 showers, and neither of them work.
I'm lucky to wear fresh underwear every day.
Yep. Aren't we all? And we'll be selling that fresh underwear on firstissueclub.com.
Nope. The underwear is dirty on First Issue Club, because that's what the people want.
Yeah,
right,
that's what they
okay.
need. Dirty people.
All right. Today we're going to do what we always do. Chat about some comic book news and then talk about some first issues that we've read. I read The Cull. We've got Uncanny Avengers over here.
Oh, shit. Andy came prepared.
I
with
read
all
a
these.
lot. I
Yeah.
bought 3 weeks worth of books this week. I also read The Cull. I want to talk about The Madness.
Oh, cool. That's the J. Michael Straczynski book.
Yep. I'll talk about What If Dark Moon Knight and Death of Venomverse. If we get that far, I'll talk about all that.
Oh, Death of Venomverse. It was bound to sneak its way into the show.
My.
Last week it was the nighttime sleepy tea DC event, Night Terror.
Night Terrors.
And this week it's fucking Death of Venomverse. I just read Uncanny Avengers. So.
You know what I haven't read yet is the Venomverse book where they introduce that kind of anime-looking Venom character.
Oh, I think that was Edge of Venomverse. The stuff.
Edge of Venomverse.
Edging
That's-
Venomverse, yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
All right. Comic book news.
Yes. The big hubbub that's been going around is that it's been announced that Tom Brevoort,
I
who
have
is
no idea who that is.
he is the editor of the Avengers line.
Okay.
So
He's been around forever.
think of C.B. Cebulski as like Joe Biden. You know what I mean? Like he's the president of the country, aka Marvel.
Yeah.
And you have senators and governors who, do their thing on the state level.
Who are the senators and governors?
Thank you for
Are
asking.
they writers?
No, they're the editors.
They're other editors.
They're other
Okay.
editors. So Tom Brevoort was the editor for Avengers. It's been announced he's now moving in about a year and a half to the X-Men line.
Okay.
And right now that is by not Jerry Duggan, but Jordan White
Is that right?
is the X-Men one. And so people are it's a mixed bag, to be honest with that news, because people
Avengers have been really good lately, right? So why would
I thought they have been.
why would people be upset?
People are
aren't
upset
liking Avengers
because I don't think people understood Jason Aaron's Avengers line. And so they're worried that it's gonna Tom's just gonna hand over the X-Men to Jason Aaron and be like, hey, fuck this up too if you want. But I think they're worried that since Tom Brevoort was a big proponent of the Avengers right around the time that the MCU was kicking off, that the X-Men are now going to become a little more commercial. Like they're going to get back to Professor Xavier and his school.
I want it to be inaccessible. Listen,
Seriously, but that's the thing, though.
but also, I don't want Charles to go back to his school. Shut the fuck up. you guys, everybody complained about how they wanted X-Men to be back to basics, and you hated all the new mutants that were showing up and all the new things they were doing. And then when you go back to basics, everyone's gonna bitch about that. So enjoy their comic books. Enjoy it. Enjoy the ride. Buy the ones by the writers you like and have fun.
I think what Mike is saying is lighten up.
Yeah.
Lighten up.
It's a party.
And that's another reason someone with my mentality who says lighten up is someone who would have enjoyed Jason Aaron's Avengers run because it was
awesome.
It was lighter.
It was so rad.
Right? Yeah. I think especially after his Thor run, which was so heavy with Jane's like cancer diagnosis and all the like wild War of the Realm stuff.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
moving to Avengers and doing some like really big heavy storylines, and I loved the Million BC Avengers stuff. I thought all that stuff was fun though. And it got like kind of like cheeky and more comical than I was used to seeing from him.
He hollowed out a Celestial, and that was their base.
Yeah. And that opened the door for Judgment Day, which was an event that I really
made
liked.
the Avengers a comic book.
Yeah.
Like they did weird shit.
Well, and
they had a base inside of a living creature.
Yeah.
Well, and I always love when they take the current books and they're like, let's intermix this with Jack Kirby mythology. Like that's the when, like, I do get annoyed when people say I want to go back to basics with comics, but I do romanticize or really like when they do the nods or at least pay homage to some of the classics. And so telling new stories, but with Celestials at the core of it, was really fun for me.
Yeah.
I think this is nothing but good news. With the
Oh, wait until you read the comics before you get pissed about it.
right, and with like the mutants eventually coming to the MCU, there's going to be new interest in X-Men books.
Well, and I think that's a different thing to be concerned about that you shouldn't put on this person that we're talking about, right? Is there some sort of, we're going to start making X-Men movies. Is there some sort of pressure from Disney and Kevin Feige to do something different with the comic books? Do we want their hands in the comic book cookie jar? Like, I think that's a different
Kevin
story.
Feige's head is so far in the cookie jar right now. Because he's been named like one of the top creative forces in Marvel Comics like a couple years ago. Like he took
the
on
movies,
that new
right?
No.
And actually, in the actual comics,
He's in charge of Marvel.
yeah,
Period.
So I'm not saying that this move is to like make X-Men comics more like X-Men movies,
which don't exist yet.
What this, thank you.
Yeah.
But what this move says to me is these X-Men movies are gonna be good, or they want them to be good, so that they get new readers into new X-Men books that are gonna be easy to read.
Yeah.
And they aren't going to be bogged down with a Krakoan island that can talk to itself with a quiet council. Like, that's not going to be fun for any new reader.
That's what I'm getting out of this. Is like when was Hawks and Pox?
5 years ago.
5 years ago?
Yeah.
We've had 5 years of Jonathan Hickman X-Men, which is great. Like, don't get me wrong. I'm not knocking Hickman at all. I love charts and graphs.
And I don't think you can complain about
But even he's over it.
about a story arc lasting 5 years. If your whole thing is like, now they're going to go back, it's like, brother, you got 5 years of a single story arc. That is wild.
Don't come crying to me
That
until you invest
is
all your time in
nuts in comics today.
Yeah.
And don't you want something more simple? Like, I know after I read an X-Men book, because even in Uncanny Avengers, the last page is prose. Like, you have to just read it like a book. That's not what I want.
Well, and the first half of it is explaining what happened at the Hellfire Gala.
Yeah. So we've had 5 years of that stuff. If because Tom moves to the X-Men line, if we end up getting, Jean Grey likes Wolverine and Cyclops, what's she gonna do?
Yeah.
Like,
Drama.
okay, fine, right?
Bring back the school.
Still let them have a threesome, though.
Where's my mini event of that? Anyway, that was the big scuttlebutt online, is that Tom was going over the X-Men. No, we're not going to do that one. Who is Captain Krakoa? We'll do that later in the episode when we actually cover the comic book.
X-Men.
Really, that's all the news.
Wow.
Yeah, nothing too crazy happened. Sorry, folks. I know you come here for hot breaking, steamy, week-old news, but we are out of it.
That's okay.
All right.
I read a lot of comics.
Yeah, let's get into what we do best then.
You guys go first, and I'll butt in.
Nerd out about comics. So I'm a huge Kelly Thompson fan. Big believer in Kelly Thompson from what?
Big believer. She's a real underdog.
I believe in Kelly Thompson.
I think everything she puts out is going to be good.
I think this Tom King guy has something.
I've been proven right. So when she's got a new book coming out, I probably ordered like a ton of covers for the Cull. Beautiful A cover. Look at that if you're on the video.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
So out of the way, Kelly Thompson's one of my favorite writers. We got to talk about I think the first conversation you got to have about this book, though, is the art.
It's bananas.
It is almost too distracting how good it is. It is good to the degree that I'm just like I keep losing the thread of the comic because the art is just unbelievable.
It's like, are these movie stills?
Yeah.
And so I read it digitally and on a screen backlit too. The details are just out of this world, and the lighting and coloring is completely bonkers.
I wanted to highlight I think it's page 3 and 4, how there's just no dialogue, but you get everything you need out of these pages. Like it is the definition of showing, not telling.
Yep.
Just absolutely incredible. And like Greg said, I mean, this stuff looks like if you stand back, that could be a picture.
And we had this really cool motif for when we were introducing each of the characters, where you've got this like tan set of colors, then a blue stretch and a green stretch.
Oh, right.
And it really helped you keep your bearing for like, okay, these are new people now, and we're, but oh my God, so striking.
Yeah.
Okay, back to the story now. This is a wild one. This is like watching the like first half an hour of a movie like Palm Springs, where like you just get to the cave that like resets time, and you're like, what? And then it ends. Like I was so intrigued, and I love first issues that like slow burn you and make you like get you really vested into the characters. And we got a peek into their interpersonal relationships and kind of who they are as people slowly throughout the course of this. And then they get dropped into basically like Narnia they find in a cave. And I was like, yeah, I'm in.
Yeah. Sold hook, line, and sinker.
Yeah, it reminded me of Paper Girls.
Yeah, right.
Where it's got that like kids on bikes kind of feel.
Yeah, it's a bunch of they're young adults. I don't know their age range in particular.
They're all living with parents.
They're living with parents and kind of sneaking out at night so they can it seems like film like a student movie or something. And then you kind of figure out that the gal that's leading them into this kind of had ulterior motives and had seen something bizarre out off in these cliffs.
And she's looking for her brother, right?
Her brother has gone missing.
Yeah.
And she thinks he made his way into this Narnia in a cave in the ocean.
Yeah.
Really cool.
You got it.
The book does do that thing where it starts with kind of where an arc probably ends. and it shows you a huge like monster attacking the beach. So at some point we're gonna have the bad boys of this Narnia
The bad boys of
realm.
Narnia.
The bad boys of Narnia.
Can we make that like our biker club?
It's Mr. Tumnus, but he's wearing his leather jacket.
Leather jacket and spits on the ground a lot.
Spits on the ground. I love it. So yeah, there's gonna be some crossover of fantasy world into our world.
Yeah.
But I forgot about that blip, that little preview they gave us by the end of reading the comic, and I only remembered when Andy started flipping through his paper copy here. But that's kind of like what a good story arc does, right? You hit somebody with like massive alien on the first page, and then by the time you're done reading the book, you're like, I'm interested in a different story than massive alien.
I'm still interested in Massive Alien.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. I'm very interested in Massive Alien, but there's a lot for us to do until we get there. There's not a like that being said about this. I mean, there's a lot of things to say you like about it, but there's not a lot to chew on story wise yet, just because.
Just a lot of eye candy.
Yeah, it's a lot of eye candy.
It's just character introductions.
Hearing that some of the characters have been in a relationship before and are on the outs hoping to mend that relationship. We just get some clues into like who's the lazy person. We know somebody has an abusive father figure. Like just tiny things were peppered in so we know a little bit about what's affecting each person's life.
Which honestly, fine. Like, give us those small setups so we like are introduced to them, so that when the story finally evolves and spreads out, we can pick up those small, minute little details of those each character's individual quirks that makes the story more enthralling. And when a situation happens, we know that the lazy person may act lazily, or like that person that like is like the natural born leader will do this. So like, Kelly Thompson does this so well with her books of like kind of slow rolling you into like getting comfortable with these people and like how they act, and then she just throws you right into the story.
Yep.
So you kind of know how these people are going to act with each situation that shows up.
Yep. I'll say that it does feel like a role-playing party or something. You've got these like
Hell yeah.
group of random people.
A bard, a druid.
kind of put together. They're all different in their own ways, and then they get thrown into a fantasy land. So I think if you like those sort of stories, like this is definitely one to check out. And that's another thing, like we don't really know necessarily what the genre or temperature or mood of this is going to be yet. Is it a horror book? Is it going to be lighter fare? Like very sci-fi? We don't really know yet.
Yeah.
But I know I like it.
It's very good. I think, though, this would be a good one to trade weight. Like, if this sounds intriguing to you, I think it will read better.
Yeah, a lot of things do.
Like,
yeah.
it's like it's got that Saga thing where, like, Saga is amazing, but I want to read a chunk of story at a time instead of a single issue. Like, it's so good, I want more.
Yeah.
I didn't read it.
Okay.
Oh, I thought you did.
No.
It's
Didn't read
very
it.
good. You
I
should.
just know a lot about Kelly Thompson. It's on its way to me. But hearing you guys talk about it and flipping through Vargas' copy real quick got me super jazzed.
Absolutely gorgeous. When I say the art is so good it's distracting,
Yeah.
I mean it. It is like
I almost had to throw this book away.
it's like you forget that you're following a narrative and you're just like,
Yeah.
whoa.
Yeah.
Like all I can think about is how crazy this looks.
The thing that caught my eye was, again, on that first, like, third and fourth page, there's like she's like holding a picture or something in her hand, and like she's got like chipped fingernail polish.
I noticed that too.
It's like, and you can see like the scars on her arm from where she was cutting, and it's like, it's that kind of like attention to detail that makes you feel like you're watching a movie or a show instead of reading a comic book. It's so good.
It looks like it took like 3 months to 6 months to make.
Do each page.
Like it looks like an unsustainable level of art in a comic book.
Yeah, it looks like if you had an AI that perfectly generated comic book art.
Right.
Hands aren't huge.
Yeah.
You have like 7 digits.
That's what it looks like.
You did like you went out and took very dramatic photos of each panel, and then had AI come in and make them look like a little painterly and artistic.
Yeah.
It's bizarre.
Yeah.
I don't know if this artist has done many other things. But
I didn't recognize the name.
I'm
Mattia de Ilius. IULIS.
So I'm going to have to look them up. There might be something really obvious that they do that we're all just spacing on.
Yeah.
But I'm going to have to look them up and see what other books they've done and just see if they're all like this or if this is one in particular that some extra care has gone into.
Oh, yeah. They did X-Men. No, I don't know.
I did read Uncanny Avengers, #1.
Hey.
Tell us about it, Greg.
It is basically the fallout from Hellfire Gala 2023, where all of the mutants are kicked off of Earth, and a new team is formed.
Based on who was just left alive, who escaped the wrath. Is that right?
So there are mutants who went against Professor X's mind message and didn't go through the portals. And so now Orcus is rounding all those people up and shipping them to Mars. Because the mutants on Mars, there's like a civil war brewing because it's just like mismanaged up there. Just kind of a mess. And so a team is formed. Captain America wants to form this team because he is also against fascists who want to rule the world. So he forms this team with Psylocke, Deadpool, Quicksilver, Rogue, and Monet St. Clair, who better known as Penance.
Mm-hmm. And Deadpool spared because he's technically not a mutant, correct?
Has that been a thing? I don't know much
he's
about
technically not a mutant. Is that right?
Why would he not be a mutant? He has regenerative powers.
But his powers came from the getting messed with.
Yeah.
They weren't innate.
He wasn't.
Oh, okay. I had no idea.
He just rolls with mutants.
Can he go through the gates?
I don't think so.
Interesting.
I shrugged. Sorry, I forget that we're a podcast.
Vargas shrugs. I guess I never really thought about that with Deadpool. About how he's like a man-made mutant.
He's like mutant adjacent.
He has a mutation, but he is not a mutant.
Wow, that's a Patreon episode just brewing in the wings. Anyway,
we might be wrong on that. If we're wrong on that, I will do the research.
Sue me.
I will do the research myself and prove it to myself. So
don't email us.
Let me know. Don't let me know.
So a team is formed to take on MODOK and Mr. Sinister with the Dr. Stasis, I guess is what he calls himself. And Captain Krakoa is back. Or brought back out of stasis or brought back through sinister sex pits. And we still don't know the new identity of Captain Krakoa.
Oh, is Mr. Sinister still around?
It's Dr. Stasis.
It's Dr. Stasis. So he has like the club on his forehead.
But do we have the Mr. Sinister who is like, is Dr. Stasis the only Mr. Sinister that's around that we've seen?
That we've seen right now, yeah.
Got it.
And
did we see Mother Righteous die in the?
This is what we talked about.
Spoiler alert!
Mother Righteous didn't die.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering.
She took the island or archipelago, put it in like a bubble, and disappeared with it.
Okay.
So she's off somewhere else.
Yeah. With
this land of something.
So the Sinisters, for anyone who's not reading X-Men, Mother Righteous is.
Do you see why they're switching editors?
A clone is like one of the 4 Sinister clones.
Yeah.
That is out in the Marvel world today, and she's a woman. We haven't really gotten clarity on like why.
Yeah. And Dr. Stasis and MODOK are the ones who put the kill switch inside the medicine that Krakoa was making.
Yeah.
That doesn't make it safe for humans anymore.
Right.
And so that's what I think is happening with the fall of X. The safety pills are going away. I don't think we're going to have eggs anymore, so no more resurrections. Like, Krakoa's gone. So they're slowly weeding out all of the Hickman stuff.
Yep.
And I have in front of me a list of...
Is egg going to stay egg, or is he going to go back to gold balls?
He's just going to be cold balls. Just old balls.
That's another thing that I'm just like, do I even bother trying to explain that?
Or he dies, you know?
Yeah, right.
He dies a noble ball death.
We'll see if we ever get egg back.
And so in front of me, I have a list of who the potential Captain Krakoa's could be.
Do we want to give background on the Captain Krakoa stuff we caught up on before?
So the Captain Krakoa is like the mutant version of Captain America. It's like their superhero that is like the representative for mutant kind.
Yeah, they're like flagship hero. And it was originally...
It's the Chester Cheeto to Cheetos.
Yeah, it was originally Cyclops. And he was introduced because Cyclops died a very public death.
Mm-hmm.
And the world at large didn't know that X-Men had found out a way to resurrect themselves.
Yeah.
So he couldn't come back as Cyclops. He had to change his
right
persona to Captain Krakoa.
Mm-hmm. Kind of a Milli Vanilli situation.
That's what we know about Captain Krakoa up until now.
Right. And in the beginning of this Uncanny Avengers, Dr. Stasis and MODOK are seen bringing this person back. We don't know who it is. The top runners for who...
They brought him back. Okay, that's not something I knew.
Yes. So they've been working on it.
That's why I was asking about like what Mr. Sinister.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the number... So here's some of the top ones. John Walker, U.S. agent.
Sure.
Which is kind of the Dollar General Captain America.
Great value cap.
So it makes sense that they would use him and manipulate him to become Captain Krakoa.
Sure.
Another one is Hydra Supreme Commander Steve Rogers.
Oh, I love that. Bring back Nick Spencer's evil cap.
Yeah. Hail Hydra.
This was, if you remember when we first started, we speculated that this was going to be a Steve Rogers clone because the X-Men brought him back during Axe.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it makes sense.
So they still theoretically should have his like DNA and juices and be able to make other copies of Captain America.
Yeah.
And knowing Sinister, he's probably had all that info downloaded into whatever laboratory that he has offsite.
So when we say we're making an evil Cap, it'd be very similar to Nick Spencer's Captain America run, but it might be a little more of like a Bucky Barnes situation, but with Steve Rogers, wherein they've molded his mind to be a tool for them.
Yeah. Right.
Which I think kind of fits well into the typical like Captain America motif of using people as tools and
yeah, because wouldn't it be awesome if Captain America ultimately has to have a fight to the death with himself?
Yeah.
That would be righteous.
Yeah, I think that'd be really cool.
Another front runner is Nuke.
I love this one
from the Punisher series. Nuke famously had the American flag tattoo on his head.
Yeah,
or his face rather, which was always one of my favorite villain costumes. Another one, William Burnside, who I guess is known as the Commie Smasher.
Oh, yeah, he was Captain America 2. Like while Cap was frozen.
Yeah,
that's right. Yeah,
everyone. So it sounds like a lot of these are
Captain America
adjacent.
Yeah,
like people just expect it to be from Cap's world.
And I think that's really all that. Yeah.
Is it made clear that it's not a Scott Summers clone?
So everybody in this book is assuming that it's Cyclops.
Yeah.
He in one scene flies into the punishment pit or whatever it's called on Krakoa.
Yes.
And rescues some people, and they refer to him as Cyclops. But he says something along the lines of, "That name is dead. I'm Captain Krakoa." So he doesn't like confirm or deny.
Yeah, whether he's Scott Summers, but he's like, don't call me Cyclops.
Don't call me Cyclops.
Yeah.
There's also another telling line where MODOK says, "Let's get this man a uniform," which is similar to what T'Challa says in the movies where it says somebody get this man a shield when he's referring to Steve Rogers. I don't know if they're kind of cheekily trying to let the reader in on who the identity of the person could be. But anyway, it's fun to speculate.
My money's still on Steve Rogers clone.
Yeah. Definitely Steve Rogers. I'm hands down Steve Rogers clone.
Yeah.
Because why wouldn't you want a Steve Rogers versus Steve Rogers battle at the end of this Uncanny Avengers?
And it would be very Mr. Sinister to take the super soldier serum outcome and make it better.
Yeah,
Captain Krakoa can fly and he's whatever. There's a really insane scene at the end of issue 1 of this where he's fighting Captain America and like some shit really hits the fan. So yeah, I love all of those. I think it'd be super fun to see Nuke show up because I love Nuke. He's a great character.
Yeah. And so that's Uncanny Avengers in a nutshell. I thought it was good. Jerry Duggan blew it out of the park. Yeah. I think they're trying to set it up now and get us comfortable with Avengers and X-Men working more hand in hand, since basically all of their defenses in their homes are gone. They're going to need more friends than enemies now. So
I do like that they referenced the first Unity Squad too.
Oh, right.
Where Deadpool was like funding it through his sales of like Deadpool merch. That was funny.
It's just a fun book.
It's great. It's super great. I read Death of Venomverse.
Let me say,
R.I.P.
Great to have Cullen Bunn back on Marvel.
And this
how tough was that phone call for Marvel to do? Probably.
Yeah.
They talk so much shit, and they're just like, "Fuck, we gotta call Cullen because he's the only one that can do this." And Cullen probably answered that phone, was just like, "Well."
How does it feel dialing 417?
Never thought I'd see your name on the caller ID again. Which we're huge Cullen Bunn super fans over here. Yeah. So nothing but W's on this side of the fence.
Yeah,
y'all.
we love Cullen Bunn, and we're kind of referring to. There was a moment in time wherein it was alluded to online.
He stated
that Marvel made a pretty blunt phone call to him, and we're done with you.
We're not in the Cullen Bunn business anymore.
That's what they said.
I hope he makes a shirt and just wears that.
How do you say that to a writer that's like just doing cool shit? It's like, of course you're like, there's so many different projects you're gonna do. There's so many different things they could like work with you on in the future. It's like so wild that was more or less said to him.
Yeah, it boggles my mind, especially because of, I don't want to say it's like a renaissance, but it feels like we're back to the era where every week Cullen Bunn has a new #1. You know?
Yeah.
Which and they're all great.
It's a good thing for me.
Yeah, for sure. Bad thing for my bank account, but it's a good thing for comic fans. Yeah, so this book was just a lot of fun. The premise is that Carnage is #1 free of a host. It's just Carnage without Cletus Cassidy, and he's like universe hopping.
Yeah.
Killing other Venoms across the universe and like stealing their codices to gain their powers.
So he's gonna be like super symbiote soon.
He is super Carnage, right? Yeah. It feels a lot like what Cullen did with the whole Deadpool trilogy, right? Where like Deadpool killed the Marvel universe, and then he killed Deadpool, and then he like killed literature, right? This feels like that, where it's the highest stakes that you can possibly have, but it still remains like goofy and fun. We get a really cool scene at the end where, because the main protagonist here is Agent Venom, but it's a female Agent Venom from like an alternate universe that showed up in the Donny Cates Venom run.
Oh yeah.
And you get Virus. And there's a whole universe of like Agent Venom is like a team of dudes. So like Clint Barton has a symbiote, and he's like an Agent Clint Barton. So you get all those dudes. Cullen Bunn brings back Mania from his Venom run way back in the day with Declan Shalvey, and she's got the Hell Mark, right? All that kind of cool stuff's coming back. It's just a great book. Super, super fun. If you're a Venom fan or a Cullen Bunn fan or both, you'll find a lot to enjoy in this book.
Hell yeah.
Okay.
That's it.
That's great. We talked about this when we first dropped the news that Death of the Venomverse was coming. It's just like, a fun, hokey, blockbuster summer event with Cullen Bunn attached to it. You're just like, oh shit. Okay, hold on. Like, this may be fucking awesome.
Yeah. When I first heard just the title of it, I remember thinking,
your eyes rolled in the back of your head.
Yeah, I was like, another Spider-Verse, Spider-Geddon sort of like take-off spin thing. Like, we're just doing Spider-Verse back to back to back to back over and over again.
Yeah.
And so I was a little bit like, oh my God, this thing. But Edge of Venomverse issues were very fun. And so I think the tonality of that made me a little more excited for this. Yeah, the Symbiote 6.
Oh boy,
that's so fun.
It's just a blast.
Yeah,
it's just a fun comic book.
What else was I going to say about it? Oh, one of the symbiote things that I really enjoyed recently was making Liz Allen. I think Misery was the name of the symbiote she had.
Yeah.
I think it was Liz Allen, but I just love when they take those like day one Spider-Man characters and do something cool with them.
Yeah.
Or Shriek. Did she become Shriek?
No. I can't remember the name of the woman who became Shriek, but I think she first...
Alan Liz.
I think she first appears... She's like maybe someone who worked at the Life Foundation.
Oh, she was...
And first appears in Unlimited.
Yeah, she was...
It's like a new character.
Yeah, she showed up in that Carnage miniseries that Clayton Crane did.
Oh, okay.
Anyway. Yeah, Death of Venomverse is shaping up to be a blast. And unfortunately, there's 2 issues out already. So
before you move on to Moon Knight,
can
I just pay Marvel a little respect here with the Marvel Remembers John Romita.
Oh, dude, these corner boxes. Yeah.
That is brilliant. That is wonderful to see instead of just a big black banner across the book.
Yeah.
That they did with...
That's cool. It's a corner box.
Stan Lee and Chadwick Boseman. That was just like, design-wise, it was not flattering or like a respectful homage to those people. Like, this corner box, fucking beautiful.
Well, and I love that they're using his famous cover for Spider-Man No More.
And I think this was on every issue this week.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
Fucking
so it does,
nailed it. Marvel.
It does feel like the Spider-Man looking back behind him does seem like a farewell sort of thing. So it's a very like sweet usage of that visual.
And on top of that, they put in not just a 2, but a 3 or 4 page.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
it's
John Romita.
It's John Romita, right?
Like, Marvel would not be Marvel without John Romita.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, so great call out, Greg. So I read What If Dark Moon Knight, because obviously I did. This is a what if book, and the first cool thing they did is it's not told from like the Watcher's perspective or, some omniscient, whatever, third person. It's told from Khonshu. Khonshu tells the story of this alternate universe, which is cool. This takes us all the way back to the 80s with Mark Spector Moon Knight, which is volume 2, issue 3, and Mark dies. That's the kickoff. What's cool is that Marlene, his love interest, swears off Khonshu and says, you could have saved him, whatever, and finds a statue of Ra, and instead becomes
devotes herself to the sun god.
And becomes Luminary.
So
she is not a defender of those who travel at night. She wants to bring light to the darkness, but she still does like Moon Knight stuff.
I want to bring light to the darkness.
Yeah, exactly. You adopted the darkness. Yeah,
Can't go an episode without a Bane impression.
of course. Yeah, where's my coffee mug, right? You go, I'm talking to the coffee mug. So she goes off and fights Bushman, who's a classic Moon Knight villain. And it's just a fun little what-if story.
The character design is cool. I like that it has the Moon Knight look, but with like, gold and sun accents.
Yeah.
The cover is the position she's in is a little...
Yeah. Like, come on.
a little like...
It's a little hot. We get it, Mike.
Put those legs a little closer together, maybe. It's a bit of an unnatural...
Have you read any of the other
Fighting crime is hard.
Yeah, I need my legs in stirrups to do it.
I have What If Dark Venom in my car. I have not read it yet.
So when I did the What If Loki review, it was very much indicative of the time period it was depicting, and which made for an interesting read.
Yeah,
because I'm so used to modern comic storytelling. Is this kind of the same with set in the 80s? Was it like kind of like an 80s comic book feel? So
this is written by Erica Schultz, who's a modern comic book writer. Yours was written by, what's his name? Old Thor.
Oh, shit. I'm going to get roasted for this.
Yeah, I know. Walter Simonson.
Yep, there we go. Shoo, dodged the bullet.
So she, because the book like literally spins off of like, it's like, what if this scene happened differently? So it's written in the style, but with modern flair.
Thank God.
Yeah. So it reads very easily, but it still nods to like, if you know, right? Like if you've read an old comic book, you will pick up on some of the stuff that they're doing,
right? But
it doesn't really read like that. Yeah. I don't know if that makes any sense.
No, I get it.
Okay. But it's very good. I'm enjoying these.
Stupid. I understand your point.
It sucks that there's only.
I'm stupid and I'm bad at explaining it.
It sucks that there's only like 5 of them.
Yeah, they're not doing.
They're only doing
many.
5 issues, and so you're like, oh well.
They'll do more probably. Darn. If people buy them, they'll do another round of them in a couple months.
Good.
I'll buy them.
The last one I read is The Madness by J. Michael Straczynski, and this book is an absolute fucking banger.
Oh, whew, I was worried.
It is so good. The elevator pitch for this is there is a super thief. She is a super powered individual who steals occasionally to like make ends meet.
As you do.
And she does one last job, of course, but she steals like a bunch of gold from like a Middle Eastern, sheik or whatever. Well, he's got political ties, and he says, we're pulling our support of the U.S. unless the U.S. does something about this woman who stole from me.
Stole my gold.
How
do you get away with gold?
She actually stole from a leprechaun.
She's superpowered.
Oh, she's superpowered. That's right. Yeah.
So
she can put a lot of gold in a bag.
Correct.
Walk away with it.
I need you both to know the restraint I am doing right now, not doing a gold member impression.
Thank you.
From Austin Powers.
I was really expecting
I just needed to be known.
So what ends up happening is the government decides that this all has to be black ops because you can't, the sheik demands that the government take her out, like with extreme prejudice, that kind of thing, right? And since you can't deploy troops over U.S. soil by law without acts of Congress, the president decides this all has to be black ops. So what ends up happening is they go to like this universe's version of like the Justice League and says, we will pay for all of your whatever forever for this whole team. And all you guys have to do is fly up in the air and drop a bomb on this cabin that this woman's sitting in. Right?
Okay.
Unfortunately, her husband and 2 kids decide to visit her in this cabin while she's laying low from this crime, and they get wiped out.
Ooh.
So this drives her absolutely insane, and she becomes like an ultra supervillain.
How does she survive the...
It turns her, you might say,
her just superpowers help her survive the explosion?
Yeah.
Okay.
Her power is she can like pick any superpower she has, but she can only have one power at a time.
Okay.
So
Oh.
if she's flying, she's vulnerable. If she's invulnerable, she can't fly. That kind of thing.
That's cool. I always liked Jane from Doom Patrol because she kind of had a rotating cast of like
Oh, right.
powers and characters she
Yeah.
played.
So this is kind of like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the end of the book ends with her starting to hunt down who did this to her because she doesn't know what happened.
Okay.
So ultimately, this is going to culminate in like,
And that makes her a villain?
well, she's like an anti-hero, right? She's
Punisher
like-
type.
She's the Punisher. I was going to say, like, that's like almost like the Punisher story.
Yeah.
Is she like a national of any country?
Yeah, she's a U.S.
She's a
citizen.
U.S. citizen.
Yeah.
Okay. I was going to say, I didn't know if there was some other like political thing that it was like.
No, the political thing I think was just a hook to
Yeah.
like the government can't do anything about it, so they have to go to the Justice League or whatever it's called.
Okay.
But super cool. They set up this whole like Justice League team, and they've all got pretty unique looks and powers and motivations, and her look is super unique. There's a whole like design thing at the end.
Oh, wow.
where
Yeah,
they all
that's
look-
awesome.
They all look great.
Agent X9.
It was super fun. I really got into like the political lean and like why this one unfortunate like heist that she went on like really ended up being her downfall. and
Yeah.
very cool book. Very, very cool book. And like most AWA books, this is a 6-issue miniseries. So not a lot of commitment.
Or the right amount of commitment.
True.
The perfect amount of commitment.
Yeah. I know that J. Michael Straczynski gets a lot of heat for being a prolific but
Reliable?
unreliable, unenthusiastic creator.
Yeah. He creates a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
And
Right.
so sometimes when you see his name on things,
You're
you're
like,
just
oh,
like,
oh boy.
is this another thing that just like is going to be out there that I'm never going to read?
I'm going to love the first 2 issues of this.
Or is this going to be like appointment reading?
Yeah.
I just like, he's not one of the writers that I automatically buy anything he writes.
Yeah.
I'll say that. Is the
Well,
nice way to put it.
this gets me very excited for his Captain America run
Yeah.
that he's getting ready to do on Marvel. Hopefully he can, stick the landing there, or maybe just do 6 good issues and duck out. But
Whatever you're going to do, man. Just get it done.
the madness is good shit. AWA is kind of killing it right now with this and Ribbon Queen, and
Yeah.
they've got a lot of good stuff out. So
What was that secret agent James Bond book you liked?
Red Zone.
Red Zone.
That's another Cullen Bunn book.
Yeah.
And Sins of the Salton Sea. That's a Ed Brisson book.
Yeah.
Killing it on that.
I need to catch up on some of those. I kind of stopped buying AWA comics.
I'm going to get some
There's another
trades.
thing where they just like, they just had so many titles really quick.
Yeah,
And I just kind of fell off them as a publisher
for sure.
because some of the things I just read were very like hit or miss.
They've put out a lot of good stuff.
But they have. That's their batting average is pretty high.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're Mr. 300 or 3000.
Mr. 3000.
Isn't that a baseball term?
That's a Bernie Mac movie.
It is a Bernie Mac movie, but it's for getting 3,000 hits.
Sure. Whatever you say, Greg.
That's a good baseball term. Hey, everyone. Thanks for listening. Go to patreon.com/First Issue Club for more Patreon goodness. If you are in the Kansas City metro area, TowerCon is coming directly to you September 23rd, I believe, 22nd, 23rd. We'll be there. We'll be doing a live episode. So come check
I don't
that
know
out.
if I knew that.
Yeah, surprise.
Okay.
We'll be recording there. Yeah, so go check out our social medias. Remember to bag and board all your treasures. See ya.
Bye.